All right, guys, we're back here in North Carolina on the 2001 MR2, and Nick's going to talk a little bit about what he's done. I had to leave and go back home before he finished the car, so they've done a little more work on it, and we're going to kind of go through, and he's going to tell you what mods he's got on it. First thing, we got this brace that I'll do a separate video on. We had to modify this brace. This brace is made for the MR2 with the Toyota engine in it, but this is a Honda engine, and this brace has never been made before to fit the Honda engine. So I actually took this brace, chopped it all apart, and re-welded it back together to make it fit this car. And we're going to send it back to the guy that makes them, and he's going to start making these pretty quick. But this is kind of the first time this has ever been done, the first mock-up of one, prototype, so to speak. So we've done that. All right, Nick, so you had the header on it when I was here before, but you did not have the exhaust. So now we got the exhaust on. You can see the header coming down, and then it's got the muffler up there and the tailpipe coming down like that. And what'd you do, Nick? Did you powder coat this exhaust? Is that right?
It's ceramic coated.
Ceramic coated. Okay, so it's
Cerakote.
Okay, so he Cerakoted it. He wanted the kind of a dull matte black finish look, so he Cerakoted it, sandblasted it, and Cerakoted it, so it's not stainless steel looking anymore. It's black. And what have you done to the suspension on this thing, Nick?
Suspension. The rear has these 3 adjustable arms, so you can adjust the suspension. You can fine-tune the toe and the camber especially.
Right.
These coilovers, these are Tane Monosport.
Tane what?
They're called Monosports.
Okay, let me get up in there. Model Sport.
You can't buy them in the United States. I had to import them from Japan. There's a company called Jesse Streeter, and he's like a ex-drifter. I think he's Australian, and he lives in Japan. And his company, he'll basically buy parts you can only buy in Japan, and he'll charge you a small fee, and then he'll ship them to you. But he actually is really affordable, and I recommend him highly.
Is he on Facebook?
Or he has a website. If you just Google Jesse Streeter.
Jesse Streeter. Okay.
I can give you the link too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll try to get a link to his website, and we'll put it on here too.
I've actually bought multiple. When I show you the engine bay, the strut tower brace, I also bought from him.
Okay.
And I actually bought the matching front strut tower brace, which I don't have installed yet, but it's in the mail. He just shipped it. So the Tane Monosport coilovers, I have these cammed camber bolts, so to make even the camber more adjustable. I just did an alignment on it actually. So I'm running negative 2.5 camber in the front and negative 1.5 camber in the rear. The rear brakes are stock. The front, we talked about that before. Those are the Willwood kit sold by Mitch Auto Parts.
Right.
We talked about the brace. I need new tires, obviously. What else? I don't know if you want to go to the front or. I have new wheels. I ordered it about a year ago. I haven't got them in yet. I'm still waiting. So.
Where'd you get your wheels from? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's a place called Vivid Racing. It's really popular. They sell. It's probably one of the most popular websites especially for imports. For wheels.
Okay, and I see a brace back here by the license plate. Is that an aftermarket brace that goes across there?
Yeah, it's a company called Stingray Resto Mod.
Stingray, you said?
Yeah, Stingray, like
okay.
Like the fish. So they sell these bars. Basically, you can see it up here. It replaces the stock crash bar, and he powder coats them, and you can get it in I think several different colors and finishes. Or he'll do any color, I think, for added price.
So it bolts to the frame rails there.
Yeah, it bolts to the factory location, and he sells a lot of different accessories for it. So you can bolt like different rear splitters and wings to it if you like tracking it.
You got your exhaust mounted to it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had to kind of custom print this CNC print this. bracket because most guys who run this track bar are running like super custom exhausts where a lot of them are just going straight through back here.
Right.
You know, basically straight out. So
okay.
You know, crazy loud. Without any back.
That would definitely be loud.
Which I don't want.
Right.
And I also ceramic coated this
K-member or
subframe or whatever.
Subframe,
it is.
yeah. It's not really a K-member, but the rear subframe member that holds the suspension in.
And I need to redo the header. Whenever I Cerakoted it, I didn't wait long enough between the coats on this, so the paint's starting to come off. But everything else it's holding up well. So. Okay,
and we got a couple braces under here. We talked about them in another video. If you watch my other videos, you'll see information on those. We'll put links to where you can buy those on my videos. And we got another brace that goes on the front over on the floor. We haven't put it on yet, but we'll put it on today. We got to make some modifications to it first. One thing I did that Nick didn't know about yesterday when I was under here, show you guys something that I did. So this brake, emergency brake line here, this bracket was flipped this way and it was pushing the gas. This is your fuel line going to the fuel tank to fill it up with, and it was pushing against this. And I had a little bit of concern that it might eventually rub a hole in it. So I flipped this thing 180 degrees and then I grabbed it and I pulled down on it and bent it. So it would kind of line this thing up a little better and be away from that. So, but the other side I noticed is the same way. I probably did that one that way too whenever we put the AC lines on. So that's one change that I made to it yesterday, just to get that away from that fuel line. So if you guys do this mod and you have a problem with this brace hitting the fuel inlet or hose, then you might want to flip this brace around a little bit. So I just did that. All right, we're going to lower the car now to the ground and kind of look at it, start it up. So let me shut the video off here and we'll lower it to the ground, then we'll start it back up again. All right, we got the car on the ground and we're going to start here in the front. Looks to me like you got new headlights in it, Nick. Are those Euro spec headlights or?
No, just factory OEM ones.
Factory OEM, okay. And he did get the car painted. The paint job's not fantastic. It's what I call a 550 car, 5 feet, 50 miles an hour. It looks good. But it looks better than it did before because it had some pretty jinky paint on it. And we'll go into the hood here, the front hood. The bonnet, I guess you call it. So he's got this Braille battery, and this is like, that's a 12 volt, so it's, what is this battery? Is it like some special battery, Nick? 'Cause it's really tiny.
No, it's just a small battery a lot of guys use on, you know, a lot of guys are relocating their batteries to the front. Because normally the battery's in the back on this, so I had to run lines underneath the car to the front. So just to be able to fit it up here and also retain the spare tire.
Okay.
Which I wanted to do.
So this is, where'd you get this bracket from? Oh, yeah, the bracket came from Braille as well. I see that. It's got a sticker on it.
Yep.
So you got the bracket, the battery from this company named Braille. You guys can see that. I'm sure they're online. Basically, it's a battery relocation kit to relocate the battery from the back of the car up here and still be able to keep the spare because it's a smaller battery. And then, of course, he's got the kill switch there, which comes in handy for whenever you want to shut the car off and let it sit without running the battery down. So that's the front of the car. And now we'll go around the back and we'll talk about what he's done. Oh, it's got Recaro seats in it. You guys see that? Those are nice.
Yeah, those are rare.
Yep, got a nice set of Recaros in there. That's real comfortable to ride in. And that shifter, is that center console piece? Is that something custom, Nick?
Yeah, it is. You can open the door if you want to check it out.
No, I can see it.
This is factory, but
okay.
But this is a 3D printed piece of plastic that goes in here.
Okay.
And basically just modified the opening of this.
Right.
So it fits this. This is this shifter box is it's a company called Hybrid Racing, which is a really large company that modifies mostly makes Honda, mostly for Civics. They sell these shifter boxes, and then there's a company called Hux Racing that buys these shifter boxes for Hondas, and they modify the base to fit this car.
Okay. Yeah. I guess you got to put a rubber boot on that eventually. They make a rubber boot for you, leaving it like that.
I might leave it like that. I kind of like it, to be honest. I mean, a lot of guys leave it, which is kind of why I put this this 3D printed piece of plastic. I might change it up eventually, but
Okay.
it was something I was experimenting with. So.
You got a Momo wheel?
Yeah, Momo wheel with a movable.
Oh, nice. Look at that. I guess you ain't gonna steal this car unless you happen to have a spare Momo wheel in your back pocket.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and then, you know, what else did I do in here? Nothing really. I mean, I just, you can see the rear as well with
It's got a little bit, is that an amp, I guess?
Yeah, it's an amp, and then I have a little sub behind this seat.
Yep, I see that.
So the amp, I just upgraded the speakers to some vocals and nothing too crazy.
Right, so it's got a little amp in it and a speaker there, and then he's got the carpet back there. Still working on this back part, getting it filled in. Is this bar here, is this part of the car, or is that something added?
That's actually factory. That's, the soft top is normally behind this, which we've completely gutted. The factory convertible top, and this bar, the soft top, mounts to part of it, and it had all these tabs on it. Well, I just cut the tabs on it off on it. I sanded it down and cleaned it up, and then I just spray painted it with a kind of like a textured black, you know, spray paint. So eventually, when I get a roll bar, the roll bar will replace this, but you know, I wanted to retain it because it does add some, you know, rigidity to the car, given that it's know, from point to point in the back.
And speaking of which, speaking of rigidity of the front, he's got a brace that goes from the strut, from one strut across to the other strut, but he's got that on order. It's supposedly being shipped to him now, so he hasn't put that on yet. All right, let's come back here to the engine bay, where all the power maker happens. So let me grab this light over here so we can see what we're looking at. And I know when I was here before, we had the engine in the car. First thing you'll notice, he's got a real nice strut brace here going across the struts. So you can see that, and that's made by Carbine.
Yeah, that's one of the Japanese I got from that Jesse Streeter guy.
Jesse Streeter, okay. So
the front one is matching. So the front one's a aluminum, same design and everything.
Okay, so the front one's going to look a lot like this one here.
Yeah, it'll just, you know, it won't have this part, but just imagine it kind of looking like that.
Right,
it's very similar.
Right, and then you got a cold air intake. Is that, you know, what brand that is?
That's mostly just custom. I bought kind of a hodgepodge of, you know, I basically just bought like some kind of generic tube. Okay. I cut it down. I just spray painted it, you know, kind of a flat black. Got some couplers, and then I bought this little shield. I think I got it on Amazon.
Okay.
Nothing. You know, it's just kind of a mismatch of parts for
that
to work.
Okay. And I think we pretty much talked about the engine because we had it pretty much all in here and running before I left. But we'll just take a quick look at it so you guys can kind of see. There's the fuel line coming from the fuel tank. He did have to put a new fuel pump in it. What fuel pump? Do you remember what you put in it?
It was just like a Denso, essentially a OEM replacement Denso pump. It's nothing.
Okay.
It's not an upgrade. There's really no need to upgrade the fuel system on this. For the Toyota system doesn't need to be upgraded unless you're turboing.
Okay.
This engine as it is, you can leave it.
Yeah, it's probably 40 psi or something like that from the factory, so it's probably plenty.
Yeah.
And they finally got this. We talked about this oil cap from Hybrid Racing. He got that and replaced the oil cap. And over here we can see you got the braces from Mitch Auto that used to adapt this Honda engine to Toyota, and the pulley back there that you can use so you can use the factory Toyota belt on the Honda engine, which is kind of weird, but it worked out. And so this is just a quick look at the engine compartment. And I mean, I think we pretty much talked about all this before. We're just kind of making up a finishing video here. There you can see the muffler down there, and then of course the header's up here. You guys can see that. But yeah, it's coming together. We still got a few more things to do to it, but we're getting it there. So let's open up the garage door and fire this thing up, Nick. See how she sounds. I want to hear what it sounds like. I haven't even heard it, guys, so I don't know what it sounds like. So I'm going to listen to it the same time you guys are for the first time. So we're going to fire it up, see how she sounds.
Battery's dead.
Uh-oh, we got a dead battery. We forgot to turn off the battery switch, so All right, I'm gonna shut this off for a minute. We're gonna put a quick charge on the battery, then we'll try it again here in a few minutes. All right, we got a little bit of a charge in this battery. We're gonna crank it up, see how she sounds. Go ahead, Nick, let's hit it. Wow, she's quiet. Rev it up a couple times for me. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, she makes a little noise when you give her a little bit of gas there. Yep, idling pretty smooth. Sounds good. I like it. Yeah, that ain't noisy at all. You'd think it would be, but I mean, this muffler's a pretty big muffler, so. But when you get on it, it definitely makes a little bit of noise. I like it. So we'll take it for a test drive in a little bit. We gotta let the battery charge up. So we'll do that in a little bit. Again, he hasn't had it tuned yet, so it's not gonna run the way it's going to once it's tuned, but you know, we'll take it for a little drive anyhow. Hit it one more time, Nick. There you go, guys. Honda engine and Toyota. Thanks for watching. Bye.